Do you ever see the aircraft carrier and think, well, can anyone really fall from it into the ocean during high tides working on the deck? Will anyone survive the fall? Has anyone fallen before though? We will answer each and every one of these questions posed, and we will do it with many examples as well. To put it simply, yes, several incidents of people falling off US Navy aircraft carriers have occurred. Occasionally, the people could have been saved, while other times the falls were fatal. Let's consider the dimensions of the aircraft carriers generally before delving further. An aircraft carrier's weight might vary based on its size and the materials used to build it. A US Navy aircraft carrier, however, can typically weigh between 100,000 and 110,000 tons when fully loaded. This weighs about the same as 18,000 to 20,000 elephants, or 250 to 275 Boeing 747 commercial jets, to put it in perspective. One of the biggest and most elegant inventions to have been produced by man owed its size and weight. The aircraft carrier is nothing short of a man-made miracle. An aircraft carrier is built to be buoyant, allowing it to float on water despite its enormous weight. This is accomplished by using a displacement hull, a kind of hull design that aids in moving water away from the ship and lowering its overall weight. As a result, they are a freak of nature with cutting-edge equipment and procedures to protect their crew. The Navy also takes precautions to avoid crew members falling overboard in the first place. This involves supplying safety gear like jackets and safety harnesses and making sure that all crew members receive in-depth safety training. To avoid unintentional falls, the Navy also uses a variety of physical barriers like safety nets and guardrails. Additionally, aircraft carriers are outfitted with cutting-edge technology to recognize and address overboard situations. For instance, some shipping companies have an overboard detection system that employs sensors and cameras to identify when a person goes overboard and notify the ship's crew. To aid with a quicker rescue, the technology may also track the individual's whereabouts in the water. The Navy is also aware of how crucial it is to take care of its sailors' mental and emotional health, because it can be a major factor in averting occurrences when sailors go overboard. The Navy provides a range of services and tools, including support groups and counseling, to help sailors deal with the pressures and difficulties of military service. So what if a crew member falls? No mistake of his own though, but still fall anyway. The ship's crew will launch a search and rescue effort to find and save the person. In order to recover the crew member who fell overboard, the aircraft carrier will halt all operations and make a full rotation. A search and rescue team made up of boats and helicopters will be sent out right away by the ship's crew to look for survivors in the area surrounding it. Sonar and infrared cameras will be among the equipment and tools that the crew uses to find the missing person. To ensure a prompt and effective reaction to situations involving overboard vessels, the US Navy has implemented stringent policies and procedures. These steps include forming a specialized search and rescue crew for the job. If the lost crew member is discovered, they will be pulled from the sea right away and given any necessary medical care. After that, the sailor will go through a medical examination to make sure they are sound and stable before reporting back for duty. The effects that a situation involving a person overboard may have on the crew and their families should also be taken into the account. It is important to remember that overboard occurrences in the Navy are relatively few and make up a small portion of all safety issues aboard aircraft carriers and other military vessels. However, the Navy continues to place a high priority on safety and implement all essential safeguards to ensure the welfare of its sailors. The Navy devises stringent processes and procedures to prevent overboard events from happening and to respond swiftly and efficiently if they do. Despite the fact that these accidents can be potentially harmful for crew members on an aircraft carrier, they are prevented from happening by these protocols and procedures. Will they even survive the initial collision if they were to fall off accidentally? The likelihood of a crew member dying if they fall off an aircraft carrier is very high. The crew member may sustain significant injuries or possibly pass away upon impact with the sea due to the height of the ship's deck and the ship's speed and movement. Even if the crew member manages to survive the initial impact, they still run the risk of succumbing to secondary risks, including cold, dehydration, and tiredness, especially if they're not swiftly rescued. The Navy's search and rescue activities and superior equipment may not be enough to find the missing crew member in the ocean because it is a huge and unpredictable environment. Consequently, diving off an aircraft carrier can be hazardous and perhaps fatal. To safeguard the safety and well-being of its sailors, the Navy has devised stringent standards and procedures, and it will go to any lengths to find and save a crew member who falls overboard. Overall, even though falling off an aircraft carrier can be a potentially fatal situation, the US Navy put in place a number of safeguards to prevent such occurrences and successfully handle them when they do happen. So, thus history has a say in it, but above all, what have we all learned from them? Well, in 2009, a crew member of the USS John C. Stennis lost his life after falling overboard while the ship was engaged in operations in the North Arabian Sea. While the USS Theodore Roosevelt was conducting operations in the Arabian Gulf in 2015, another seaman went overboard. The crew of the ship soon located the sailor and took him to a hospital for diagnosis and treatment. A noteworthy occurrence that happened in 2013 was a sailor who fell from the USS William P. Lawrence. While it was engaged in operations in the Pacific Ocean, a search and rescue effort was started when the missing sailor was reported. The sailor was not located after a thorough search operation involving numerous ships and aircraft, and the search was ultimately abandoned. A sailor who fell from the USS Theodore Roosevelt in 2018 and was found after almost an hour in the water by a Japanese ship nearby. The flown sailor was in stable condition when he arrived at the hospital. Regardless of the outcome, the US Navy takes overboard events very seriously. A number of man-overboard instances where crew members were reported missing from ships during routine operations have also been recorded by the US Navy over the years, in addition to these incidents that have been documented. However, not all of these events have led to the recovery of the missing crew member or the confirmation of a fall overboard. So keep in mind, fellas, to stay on the carrier's safer side if you intend to join the Navy. However, it does appear that with true power comes also a great deal of responsibility. Till we meet again.